What is going on, everybody? It is good to be back with our Week 11 picks here. For those that were wondering where the video was last week was that Patreon exclusive week. So if you do want to make sure you're getting these picks every single week, every third week will be on Patreon. So head over to the link in the description for the Patreon, become an MVP subscriber, and you'll get this video every single week. Also, if you want to get in on the action, there's also a referral link to Bovada in the description. Please do gamble responsibly, but that link will give you a match on your first deposit, good for one full bet of half of what you put in. So week 10 was another solid week. We haven't quite gotten back to like week 8 where we were just completely flawless. That's going to happen, but still a really good week. We were 6-5 against the spread. 8-5 overall. We were 1-0 picking underdogs. Not a bad week considering last week was kind of a mess. So we're looking to get things back up to speed again here. But overall on the season, I'm really happy with where we're at. I mean, 53-25 against the spread since we started keeping track of that. That is way above the Vegas standard. And then 16-15 picking upsets. Very profitable venture as well. We said we just wanted to go 500 on the year, and we've got 4 upsets this week. So let's try and get that to 20-15. So let's get into it here. The Week 11 picks, starting with this Thursday night game. What a good Thursday night football game. Both these teams really fighting for their playoff lives right now. The loser is more than likely eliminated here. So we got Green Bay at Seattle. Seattle, obviously a tough place to play. I do think Green Bay is the better football team here. Green Bay's kind of had Seattle's number lately since they've beefed up that defensive line. They've had a really tough time blocking and scoring against this Green Bay defense. I think Aaron Rodgers looked really sharp last week. He moved better than he has all season, looking closer to 100%. And the running game for Green Bay, a difference maker. I think it's going to be a really contested game and a really entertaining one, but I am pretty confident here going with Green Bay over Seattle. I just think the line play on both sides of the ball in a kind of a gritty game is going to be really important tonight. And I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is. I've got a very significant bet here on Green Bay tonight just to win the game straight up as an upset on the money line. Next, we got Dallas at Atlanta. Dallas coming off a big win last week in Philadelphia, but another tough road game here against Atlanta. Atlanta much better at home, and a team that I think is going to be able to move the ball pretty well against this Dallas defense. It's a pretty good defense, but it's hard to keep Atlanta down, and I don't really trust Dallas to come out and have the explosive offense it's going to take to keep up with Atlanta. So I'm going to take Atlanta 33-21 and to cover, and you'll see now I'm highlighting the text as well. So the highlighted text is who I'm taking on the spread, and then just the numbers there is my confidence in them just to win the game, and the color coding for the text is my confidence in them to actually win the spread. So if you see a medium or high confidence on the text, then you know that I really like that bet, especially if it's high. So Tampa Bay at the New York Giants, gross if you watch a second of this game. If you put a penny on this game, I have no idea what the hell you're doing. I don't know who wins this game. I don't care who wins this game. It's going to be gross. I will take the Giants, I guess, as the home team rather. 22-20. Technically that's covering the spread, but I'm graying this thing out. I'm not letting this game count against my spread. You're not betting on this game. Carolina at Detroit. I do think Detroit responds a little bit this week after just an embarrassing performance in Chicago last week. I do think Carolina gets the win here. I'm going to go 27-20, which is good enough for the cover. I just think Detroit's really bad right now. One thing I will note is Detroit really struggling tackling right now. And with CJ Anderson gone, I think it could lead to an extra touch or two for DJ Moore, who's kind of come on in the last month. I kind of like this as like a daily fantasy play or even a prop bet to go DJ Moore to score a touchdown. Get DJ Moore in your daily team. Just a little note there. And then Cincinnati at Baltimore. The spread's not out for this game. I'm assuming that is because of the Joe Flacco situation, which I'm a little surprised has Vegas so hesitant because I don't think Joe Flacco really moves the line that much. Lamar Jackson obviously being a wild card here. I kind of actually see Lamar Jackson starting here and being somewhat of a spark for the Ravens. Like Cincinnati not necessarily knowing how to handle Lamar. The Ravens should play pretty good defensively at home. Cincinnati not the same without A.J. Green. That much is very clear. So I am going to take Baltimore. I'm going to assume they're going to be like 3 or 4 point favorites in this game. So 20-16, which we'll see if that's a cover or not. I have no idea what the spread is. Like I said, I think it'll be 3, but we'll see. Next, we got Tennessee at Indy. This is a huge game. Indy needs this game to stay alive. Tennessee needs this game to get there with Houston in terms of the division race. So this is a really meaningful game. Indy's got the home field advantage. Both these teams are pretty hot right now. Tennessee's coming off 2 really impressive wins, but they got to go on the road. I am going to take the Colts here just because of the Andrew Luck factor, and I think it's going to be really close, 20-19, which, depending what you're seeing, you know, I'm seeing 1.5 being the spread in favor of Indianapolis. I'm going to stay away from the spread here just because I think it's going to be really close. If if Tennessee won, I would not be the least bit surprised, but I do think the Colts are my slightly odds-on favorite to win this thing. And then Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. Total gut feeling here. Feel free to, not follow me in terms of your gambling here. I'm not actually going to put money on this game, but I think this is a trap game for Pittsburgh. I know that they're probably a little pissed at Jacksonville because Jacksonville's had their number. But on the other hand, Jacksonville has had their number. They've proved that they match up well with this Pittsburgh team. Obviously a little different than last year, but it's more or less the same pieces going against each other here. I think Jacksonville's going to play kind of pissed off. It seems like a trap game. You got Jalen Ramsey saying he's not going to be a Jaguar when he gets the opportunity to leave. It just seems like a weird game. Pittsburgh does this where, like, every year for the last 5 years, it's like, oh, Pittsburgh's on a hot track. They're on their way to the Super Bowl, and then they just go on the road and just stink. And I think that could be this week. I'm scared of betting on this game, but I'm going to go Jacksonville 29-23 in an upset this week in a bit of a shocker. Next, we got Houston at Washington. I think Houston's a much better football team in this game. I think they'll be able to handle Washington's offense pretty easily in terms of their defense, but I do worry about the offense against a good Washington front. I am going to take Houston to win this game, 22-17. But I am a little scared of this game. I think turnovers could hurt Houston, so they got to take care of the football. But as long as they can have kind of a safe game plan, get a few big plays and not turn the ball over, I think they should be able to walk out of Washington with another big win. Next, we got Denver at the LA Chargers. 7-point spread in this one. Vegas starting to buy into the Chargers. Joey Bosa practicing this week. Not sure if he'll play this week. My guess is no, or maybe he'll play like 10 to 15 snaps. So not much of a factor in this one. Chargers, the much better team. The offense should probably just be too much for Denver. But that said, there's still a little bit of hesitation when I bet on the Chargers, especially on big spreads like a 7-point spread. I'm going to go 27-20 Chargers here, which is going to push the spread, so I'm not betting the spread on this one. Then we got Oakland at Arizona. This is crazy that we're talking about the Cardinals as a 5.5-point favorite, so leave it to the Raiders to allow that. I do think the Cardinals are going to win this one. Josh Rosen's starting to get a little more comfortable in there. They're getting David Johnson more involved with the new coordinator, and Oakland is just incredibly flat. We even demoted them to the NCAA in my power rankings, putting Alabama above them. That's a different conversation. I think Oakland would manhandle Alabama. It was just a joke. But you get the point. Oakland sucks right now. I'm going to go Cardinals 26-14 in a medium confidence cover there. Philly at New Orleans. Saints are 9-point favorites in this one. Saints are just rolling. They are going to have a fun day against this Philly secondary, but that said, the Saints don't really dominate in terms of, matchups at wide receiver outside of Michael Thomas. Obviously, Philly's going to have a hard time with Michael Thomas, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to be able to exploit that big weakness of Philly's in that secondary. So I do think Philly is going to be able to hang around in this game. They know the importance of this game, but I think just the overall momentum of the Saints, the home field, the overall talent and health of the Saints is going to win out. But I think for the first 3 quarters, this is going to look like a pretty competitive game. But I'll go 33-24. No bet on the spread. I would not be surprised if Philly covered. If I had to pick, I'd probably take Philly getting 9 points in this game, but I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to go 33-24 Saints. And then we got the Vikings at the Chicago Bears. This is a huge game for the NFC North. This is probably for the division if you look down the road. These two teams are going to play again, but this is huge. And Chicago has been hot, but they still really haven't beaten anyone. This is a true test for them. Can they stand up and beat a legitimate playoff team? I'm going to say no. I think Minnesota is really hot right now. I think that defense is going to kind of expose Mitch Trubisky. I think we get some quiet Mitch Trubisky truthers for at least 1 week on this season. Look, Trubisky's been solid, but his wide receivers are wide open. He's got the best drop rate in the NFL, and every third play, I feel like he throws the ball in the dirt. I just don't trust him right now. He's shown flashes, but against a really good Minnesota defense, I think it wins out. Now, obviously, Minnesota's going to have some struggles as well. They are going to have an impossible time blocking Khalil Mack, but I do really kind of think it's going to take a big turnover, like a strip sack, for Chicago to win. And that's not to say that that's impossible. That might even be likely that Khalil Mack can get the ball out of Kirk Cousins one time. But I do think that is what it's going to take for them to put up enough points here. And then Kansas City at the Rams. This was going to be in Mexico City. They're moving it back to LA. And still not much of a home field advantage anyway. This is probably going to be almost a neutral site in the Rams' own stadium, considering how well the Chiefs travel. The Chiefs fans travel, rather. I do think Kansas City is a slightly better football team. I went back and forth and back and forth. I swapped this logo as the last game of the week like probably 6 times. I'm just going to go with my gut here, and my gut tells me Kansas City has the better defense right now, that their pass rush is a little better, that their secondary is playing better, even though the pieces in that secondary aren't as talented. So I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I don't feel super confident in that. That is an upset pick. This is going to be a high-scoring game, I would think. The over-under is like 64 points, which is absurd. So that's going to do it for the picks this week. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. Consider what I said about becoming a patron to get these picks every week. Check out that Bovada link. So cheers as always, guys. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you next time.